feel like 90% of my journey has been filled with self-doubt. It's been filled with days where I feel like, am I even, who am I even here? It's not like you have a plethora of subjects to choose from. I'm not at that level at all. People used to be like, how much you're dancing, da, 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 da. I was like, dude, if it gets me money and gets me the kind of money that I'm getting, what is your problem? I was recently listening to an interview of a new actor, who said, oh, she has had surgeries done, and it's big. What's the big deal if I've had surgeries? I am owning it. But you do realize that you're normalizing it. Yeah. I'm not going to judge you for whatever you've done. Great, it's your body, your life, do whatever you want. But don't go out and say, big deal. No, it is a big deal. Yeah. There are people who die on those operation tables.
Well, my guest today is someone who's the true definition of self-made. From Isi Life Made to Pyar Ka Professor, she has made sure to make a very special space for herself in the film industry, and that is what we love her for. Joining me today is Sandeepa Dhar, only on the Free Press Channel. Hi Sandeepa, how have you been?
I'm good. How sweet, I love the intro.
Oh, thank you so much. It comes, I just sit and it comes from the heart. I truly feel that because last week I watched the show and I watched it with my best friend. So it was just such a nice, girly bonding. Like, how do I explain it? Like, we bonded over the show even more because there are so many important conversations hidden. And I think girls can feel it more than men. Like, that is what I felt while. And your character was just phenomenal. And there were just so many things going on in my mind. But you tell me, when the first time you heard about the concept, it's very new, it's very rare. What was going on in your mind?
I remember the first time I read it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this? What kind of a concept is this? What do you mean by ladki ko kaise patana hai? The feminist in me kind of jagged. I'm like, what the, so crassy, what rubbish. And my first instinct was to judge Malika. I don't know why. We tend to do that. Because I was like, ye to bahut galat kar rahi hai. She shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be like, she's in a marriage. How can she feel like this? This is not right. And then once I kept reading, is when I realized, dude, it's so important to bring a woman like Malika onto a screen and expose women to her story. Because somewhere all of us have gone through what she's going through at some point in our lives. We all had that conversation with our best friend saying, listen, I'm feeling like this. Yes. And she has said, it's wrong, dude, you shouldn't be doing this. And you've gone ahead and still done it. Yeah. And then it's gone wrong. And then you've called her up and said, listen, I screwed up.
Yeah, I screwed up.
And she's like, I told you so. You never listen. And it serves you right kind of a thing. But okay, never mind. Let's move on from this.
True.
So, I mean, there were so many aspects of Malika where I was like, I'm so glad someone's written a part like this. And it's a bunch of men who've written this. And it's very interesting because if a woman had written it, I could still understand it because it's her perspective of things and it's her angst also of not being understood. And the fact that it's written, it's through a man's gaze and it's written quite sensitively. And it doesn't go into crass, it doesn't go into vulgar. So I felt like it's a story that I want to be part of.
Yeah.
I felt like more than the story, I wanted to be part of Malika and like live life vicariously through her. Because I have myself judged, so many times my own self in feeling a certain way, in the conversations, that you want to have but are not having, all of that. So I felt like in cinema, we always portray women as either good or bad.
Yeah.
There's always the man and there's a Sati Savitri heroine who never does anything wrong. She doesn't feel anything wrong. She doesn't think anything wrong. And here's Malika,
Exactly.
who's fully flawed. And that's how we all are.
We all are.
And that's the real us. We all make mistakes. We all think wrong things. But we learn from it and we move on. We realize things. Sometimes we don't realize things and that's fine. I feel like, I hope it makes women less judgmental of other women. I feel like that's my takeaway from all of this. I just really hope that women watch it.
Yeah.
And they feel a little bit more understood and they judge other women a little lesser.
Yeah. No, that is the whole point. For ages, because of misogyny, because of so much of regressive thinking, women have been made to feel that it's wrong to have sexual needs. You're doing it for your man. you can't feel anything. And okay, if you feel, it's bonus, but it's not supposed to be for you. And I'm like, I'm surprised and shocked at these thinking. But of course, it's happening for so many years that it will take
generation.
Exactly. It will take us a lot of time to shatter that. And I think Malika and the show, like a character like Malika and what she's going through is just the beginning of it's a conversation starter. Before you entered, we were having a conversation. I was having it with a fellow journalist, and we were talking about how we're made to feel like no, you are just supposed to be there. No, we enjoy it as much. I don't know why people still today run away from sexual talks. What do you feel about all this? And did your mindset also somewhere change while playing Malika?
I always felt like it's a bit of a risk because, it's one thing to have a thought process like this, but for it to get converted on on screen, it's a little tricky because it's a very thin line. It can go crassy, it can go a little vulgar. So I was worried about that aspect because I didn't want to be part. Yes, I wanted to tell the story, but I didn't want it to be on the cringy
style. Yes.
And there was that risk of it being that sometimes you don't take care.
Yeah.
So that I was worried about. I was very clear about the fact that we should talk about women desires. Nobody discusses it. Nobody discusses how it's a need that both men and women have. It's a conversation that you should be having in relationships, in marriages. Very important. It's important to be compatible mentally, but it's also very important to be compatible sexually. It's a proper biological process. Like there's a reason for it. We are the most populated country in the world, and this is what we shy away from. It's just obnoxious in a way. But anyways, the point was, I did want to talk about these things, but at the same time, I wanted to talk about it with a certain amount of respect.
Yeah.
Which I was a little scared of because it's all men writers, men directing it, a man directing it. But I think Akshay, the director, handled it beautifully. We, of course, improvised a lot on set. We made sure it was more conversational in the way we portrayed things. And we didn't. I was very mindful of not crossing lines, but yet showing what needed to be shown.
Yeah.
And that's the take back that I got from all my friends as well. I have a huge girl gang who watch all my stuff, who are my biggest critics. They'll not like anything. For them to like something, I have done something massively well. So they've all come back and said that, dude, not at any point did I feel uncomfortable with with what was shown and all of that. She said that everything was done very correctly, and I felt what she was feeling. And I think that was the agenda and goal for me as an actor while playing Malika, that I wanted to be relatable. Because I've gone through this. I'm sure there are women out there like me who've gone through the same thing. So I have to reach out to those women who might be told that what you're feeling is wrong. And it's just not right. I want them to feel everything that you're feeling is absolutely valid and right. And there's no shame in feeling whatever you're feeling. Whoever's making you feel like that is the lesser man. And that for me was very important.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from, because you trying to feel that it shouldn't look cringe or crass. It's so valid, because I'm sure, without naming any actor or any show or any movie, I want to say that I've seen films that try to talk about sex education, try to talk about a woman's sexual needs, but it ends up becoming crass. For some reason, because you said writing is very important here, and the fact that you creatively got involved with these men writers and made sure it's not, it showed that I was in good taste. Not even in a single scene did I feel it's a little cringe. Like you mentioned, your friends told you the same thing. As a girl myself, as a woman myself, I was able to relate to Malika. And yes, as women, we do have this quality of judging other women very quickly, which I think it's so important to stop. And I think this is just the beginning. If shows and if content pieces like this come more often, we might stop there. So, it ended at a very, very interesting note. And everybody, I'm sure you are getting messages as well. Everybody is asking what's next and when is the second season coming. Give us an update to that.
Well, only Amazon will give us update on that. It's only been, it just feels like the show's been out for a while. It's only been a week.
Oh yeah.
Since the show's been out, and everyone's been saying Bhutan kab jana hai, Bhutan kab jana hai. Everyone's been asking me Bhutan kab aa rahe ho aap? But I feel like that's a win in a way. Now Amazon will be able to tell you when the next season is out, but I'm hoping that we have a season 2 and we have a good season 2.
Sandeepa, your journey has been filled with several parts that you've played. Some have left major impact. What I've noticed from every bit of role that you've played is that you come across as a secure actor. You've never taken that thing that, only and only I should shine and nobody else. I don't get that feeling from you. And often actors who think otherwise, they just disappear in thin air after 3 projects, 4 projects. The reason I mentioned that you have created your own special space in the film industry is because you managed to do that with all your hard work and you are self-made truly. But were there points in between where it became maybe difficult and you had a sense of self-doubt in yourself?
So much. I feel like 90% of my journey has been filled with self-doubt. It's been filled with days where I feel like, am I even here? Am I doing, should I continue being an actor? There have been times where I've questioned my abilities. There have been times where I've questioned, will it ever really happen for me? Like the way I want it to happen. And, when I started off, I had a trajectory of how I wanted my career to go. So, along the way, it's taken a while to get to a place where I'm working with people that I really want to work with. Be part of projects that I really want to be part of. I feel like there's so much riding on destiny and what projects come to you. It's not like you have a plethora of subjects to choose from. I'm not at that level at all. And I feel like you have to be very mindful in terms of, you have to be real with your own self.
Yeah.
Firstly. It's not live in a bubble where, I have 10,000 things coming and I'm choosing. No, it's not. By the time it's filtered and it comes to you, you have, out of those 10 projects that come to you, there might be one which might be decent writing, firstly. There's dearth of good writing, there's dearth of good projects. Then you decide, do you want to compromise and at least do something? At least you're a working actor, or do you just wait for the correct thing to come? So I feel like for me that moment happened 2 years ago, wherein I decided, okay, so what kind of an actor do I want to be known as? Should I continue just being there, or what is it that I want out of this? Do I have an end goal? What kind of an actor do I want to be? For me, I feel like that was my awakening moment where I was like, okay, I want to be not known as just a pretty girl who dances. I want to be known for the craft. Okay, if I want to be known for the craft, that means I have to pick roles that somehow showcase that craft. Now that's difficult because there's no point doing a fab role in a show that is crappy.
Yeah, that is true.
So to find the balance is the most challenging part, man, because all the good writing is going to the level that's above you. So by the time you have to really, really look for those good parts to come to you. And I'm so thankful, to be honest, to Mukesh Chhabra, the casting director, because he has come to me at the right times with the right roles. Dr. Aurora Imtiaz Ali, he came to me. I feel like I was a really interesting part. This also, it was him who got me this. So I feel like, there's God somewhere who's, who directs these things to me. And I decided, okay, now if this is what I want to do for a longer period of my life, if I want to be known as a good actor, then I have to choose my things correctly. Take time. And then quality over quantity. It's okay if I'm at home, I'll do brands and I'll do influencer things. It's okay. But I'll choose my subjects correctly, the kind of roles that I want to really, so that I'm not embarrassed watching things later in life. At least I can say that I tried to kiya. I tried doing the best with the circumstances that I'm in. So I feel like my journey has also been very interesting. I started off as an actor who didn't want to be an actor and didn't know anything about acting. Then left after my first film release, left for Australia and did cut off from films in a way and did my theatre for 4-5 years. And then came back when the OTT kind of boom happened. And I've had my own, kind of ups and downs and all of that. And I feel like if all of that wouldn't have happened, I would have never been able to play Malika.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have turned into a person that I am right now. I feel like everything that I am right now is because of the angst that I've had. Dude, I'm not getting the kind of roles that I feel like I deserve. So everything happens
at its own pace.
At its own pace. You just have to kind of accept the journey that you're on. And I feel like now finally when I'm slightly older, the angst is a little less.
It doesn't look like that at all.
But yeah, as I'm like growing a little older, I realize it'll all happen at its own pace.
It's so funny that sometimes we're just in such a big rush to get that one successful thing happen going for us that we forget that until unless you don't fail, you will truly not understand what that success means. It won't be lived for very long in your life because वो आपके हाथ से चला जाएगा because you won't be able to value it as much. I feel everybody who has failed, and failed is a very harsh word. We made it sound very harsh, but it's actually a beautiful word. If you don't fail, you will never be able to understand what as you said, you wouldn't have gotten Malika hadn't you gone through all of those procedures that you went through. So, you know how they say God's plan, just leave it up to God. So that is true, but it also takes a very high amount of guts to do what you do, to just take a back seat. And as you said, I do my brands, but I will only be a part of a project that values my character, right? How do you make that balance? Because on days as a working actor, it could get into your mind and it could be maddening because actors say we're all about being seen all the time and you're not even very PR heavy. So how do you manage that?
So I was very clear about the fact that, so when I decided that, substance is what I'll, concentrate on, I was like, okay, so what can I do in order to keep my kitchen running? If I'm not going to do every other show and not make money, I was like, okay, so let's use social media to my advantage. And I made sure that, the good thing is my dancing kind of kicked off and that got me a lot of brands, and then my influencer marketing thing kind of worked for me. It's not something that I planned or strategized. It kind of just happened. So I feel like the universe has a beautiful way of kind of balancing things. If it's not giving you something else, it's kind of giving you some other ways. So of course you go through it's difficult. I feel like, to be honest, when someone new asks me about when they're entering the film business and they want to be actors, I feel like have some kind of a financial backing.
True.
It's very difficult otherwise because then you will take decisions on the basis of money. And that's where the downfall happens. Because if you're secure financially now, then you can take take your time and decide what you want to do. But now, because social media is there, you don't even have that excuse because it's become much easier to make money through all of these brands and stuff like that. So you kind of play to your advantages, no? What do you think works for you?
Mm-hmm.
Find your niche. That little bit of hard work that you'll have to do. People used to be like, how much you're dancing? Da, 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 da. I was like, dude, if it gets me money and gets me the kind of money that I'm getting, what is your problem?
Exactly.
I'm like, I'll make all of this money, but at least I'll not make foolish decisions in terms of the right roles that I'm choosing.
True.
But I think you have to be patient and have some kind of financial backing so that you are not making wrong choices. But it's difficult. It's difficult to keep going, to have that, it's also a challenge mentally to stay positive and be like, it's going to work out if I know. But then you have to be okay with that also.
Yeah. If you've taken that decision, then you have to be.
You have to be okay with the fact that it might not really work out. And at what point do you decide that maybe you should try something else? That's also a challenge. So I feel like you have to spend time with yourself and really understand what are you really, really passionate about. Because I feel like if you're really passionate about something, it might take a little time, but it will happen.
for sure.
Yeah.
I believe in that too. But as you said, some art forms are judged so quickly. Like people commented, "Why are you dancing?" I feel it's such a beautiful form of art where you can express yourself without speaking. And why wouldn't you like somebody to? So I feel people around, to cut it short, people around have become so sensitive about what you are doing that sometimes I feel very scared about even asking something कि यहाँ से उठा के फिर मुझे ही troll करना start कर देंगे, which happens
Correct.
even with journalists. So I can only wonder what happens with actors and public figures because it happens on a big level. What happened recently with Ranveer Alabadia? It shows that we have taken comedy also very seriously today. As an artist, do you think people have become way too serious now?
I feel like people are using social media as a faceless garb to vent. Now, people are very frustrated in their life in general, and they're taking out all that frustration out on social media because they cannot be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
Now, you have to decide, are you going to run your life basis some Tom, Dick and Harry who's typing shit? Or are you going to do the shit that you want to do and be like, I give a damn?
Yeah.
But you have to be that kind of a person. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. You can get really affected by the kind of comments people write. It's really sad actually that we can do that to somebody else. Like imagine somebody doing it to you. Would you do that? I wish somebody would take 2 seconds before typing and venting. But I'm also like, dude, they don't matter. So do your own thing, man. I don't. I mean, sometimes I read comments, sometimes I don't. But there's also a lot of comments to read. But I don't take any of social media too seriously. I feel like it's great. It's fun. I feel like there are a lot of advantages to social media. You can reach out to people. They can reach out to you. It's great. It's a tool that you can, if used correctly, is great. But it's also a very dangerous tool. Because I feel like it gives you a perception of a reality. And you think that perception is correct. It's not. Everyone's faking it. Everyone. You think people wake up with those flawless skin and see people without filters and all of that. You will know what the reality of stuff is. Also, I have a problem with people normalizing all of this. I was recently listening to an interview of a new actor, who said, oh, she has had surgeries done and it's big. What's the big deal if I've had surgeries? I am owning it. But you do realize that you're normalizing it.
Yeah.
It's not to be normalized. These are surgeries that you're talking about. It should not be normal. It's something that has to be done with at a dire like thing, right? Like it's not something that, okay, I'm not happy with my weight, let me do this. Yeah. I'm not happy with my nose, let's do this. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. You cannot normalize things like this. You've got it done, okay, great. But don't normalize it.
Don't normalize it. That is so true.
I'm not going to judge you for whatever you've done. Great. It's your body, your life. Do whatever you want. But don't go out and say, big deal. No, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
There are people who die on those operation tables getting these surgeries. And it's very dangerous. Let's be very careful about things that we are talking about.
Yeah.
So let's not take any of this very lightly. So I feel like social media can be a dangerous space because of all this. People will now think, if I'm not happy with the way I look,
let's just go and change
things. No, Papa, let's just accept who we are. God's given you a face. Let's be very thankful for whatever we've got. Let's make the most of what we've got. I can give you examples of millions of actors out there who look very average, but they're brilliant performers. And they're known for that. So let's be that, let's aspire to be that rather than the way.
That is so true. I once met Nawazuddin Siddiqui and he told me, मुझे काला, पतला, छोटा, क्या बुलाया जाता था. And I was sharing my experience that I was told, oh my God, you're fat. How can you be an anchor and be in front of the camera? I was like, I'll show you. Wait. So, you need to have that confidence, that talent above everything else.
Security. You're very secure as a person.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You have to be very secure as a person. It's only insecurity that leads to all of this, which is very normal. Again, insecurity is a human thing.
Yeah, it is a human.
It's a human thing. But the point is to work on that insecurity, not to digress from that insecurity, shift the insecurity to a solution. That's the problem. But
it is a conversation that it's a long due conversation, and I'm glad that you have a completely different perspective. I know what the actor you're talking about, and when that video came out, people were praising her for being honest, and in my head I was like, okay, honesty is one thing, but you are promoting something. You're promoting injectables. Okay, they're very, very harmful.
Yeah.
Firstly, secondly, they're very, very expensive. So now these teenager girls will go save all their pocket money and say, go to the parents and say, I want to change my nose and I'm saving up money for this, and they come from a very normal family.
Correct.
So I think we should, as public figures, everybody should be held more responsible about the things they say.
Of course. Because you're also influencing a huge number of people, young girls who are watching you, who think you are a role model for them. So I'm not sure that's the kind of influence that you should be having on people.
True. But before we end this chat, I know you have a very interesting lineup. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about how much, so I'll ask you a little bit about, what's next for you. But I know for a fact that I'm going to see you a lot now in incredible parts.
I'm very excited about 2025. I'm very excited for this year.
Lovely.
Because I have some very interesting things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have 2 films that I've shot for, which will come out this year. One I can't talk about, and the other I can partially say because we've kind of posted about it and stuff, that it's a Lakshman Utekasa film, and just shot for it and got the opportunity to work with some incredible actors like Nimrat, and I think I just Sunny, amazing set of actors, Kunal. I had my biggest fan moment on that film. I can't tell you about it now. Why? But it's a story from another day.
We'll talk about it when the film comes out. Yeah.
Correct. I'm very excited because again I'm doing something that I've never done before in that film, and I'm very nervous and excited at the same time for everyone to kind of watch it and stuff. So it'll be a fun year.
Lovely. We're waiting to watch that film, and the other film, guys, she can't talk about, but I can guarantee it's going to be another, thing that you wouldn't expect Sandeepa, to do, but she's doing it and killing it out there. But on that note, thank you so much. I truly want the second season to come. Please don't disappear. Please come to the second season. We're requesting you guys. You need help in writing now. As an audience, we can come help you guys. But on that note, thank you so much, Sandeepa. Keep doing the great work that you do.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure speaking with you, man. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Same here. Sometimes you speak to an actor and then you understand, okay, this actor is a good actor and also a good human being. So I got that feeling from you. So thank you so much.
It takes a good human being to realize it. Thank you. My pleasure.
Same here.
Hi, this is Sandeepa Dhar and you're watching me on Free Press Journal.